October 3, 2024, Hospice Care Center, Lyon, France, 2:14 a.m. Dr. Jean-Marc Martineau lay dying. At 71 years old, lung cancer had consumed him, and he had perhaps hours left. But before he died, he needed to confess. He pressed the record button on his phone with trembling hands and began, "My name is Dr. Jean-Marc Martineau. On August 31, 1997, I was one of the doctors who treated Princess Diana at Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital in Paris. And I'm about to tell you something that will destroy everything you think you know about that night. Diana didn't die from her injuries. She died because we were paid to let her die." The dying confession. The hospice room was dark except for the soft glow of medical monitors. Dr. Martineau's breathing was labored, each word a struggle. But he needed to say this. After 27 years of silence, 27 years of guilt, 27 years of nightmares, he needed to confess. A young nurse, Marie, sat beside him, holding the phone steady. She had worked with Dr. Martineau for 3 years and never suspected the darkness he carried. "Marie," he whispered, "record everything I say. When I die, take this to the police, take it to the media, take it to the world. People need to know what we did." His voice strengthened as he began his confession. "For 27 years, I've lived with this guilt. Every single night I see her face, Princess Diana, her eyes looking at me, begging, 'Please help me. My sons need me.' Those were her words. And I looked into those eyes and I let her die." He coughed, blood staining the tissue. "She was alive when she arrived at our hospital. Yes, her injuries were serious. She had internal bleeding, a damaged aorta, but they were survivable. We had the best cardiac surgeon in France. We had all the equipment we needed. We had time, but we didn't save her. We were paid not to." Marie gasped, "Dr. Martineau, what are you saying?" "I'm saying that Princess Diana was murdered, not in the tunnel, in our hospital, by doctors, by me." The phone call. Dr. Martineau's mind drifted back to July 18, 1997, 6 weeks before that terrible night. He had been working late in his office at Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital, reviewing patient files. It was past 11 p.m. when his office phone rang. Strange, he thought. The hospital switchboard was closed. "Dr. Martineau." The voice was male, British accent, cold and professional. "Yes, who is this? That's not important. What's important is that we know about your gambling debts, $340,000. We also know about the malpractice lawsuit you're trying to hide. And we know about your daughter Sophie's leukemia treatment that your insurance won't cover." Martineau felt his blood run cold. "How do you know about?" "We know everything, doctor. Every debt, every mistake, every secret, and we can make all of it disappear. What do you want?" "Princess Diana will be brought to your hospital within the next 6 weeks. When she arrives, you will ensure she doesn't survive." Martineau nearly dropped the phone. "You're asking me to murder someone. We're asking you to let nature take its course. She'll be critically injured when she arrives. She might die anyway. You're just making certain of it. Delay the procedures. Equipment malfunctions. Human errors. You're a doctor, you know how these things happen in emergency rooms. And if I refuse," the voice became ice, "your daughter dies. Your career ends. The malpractice suit bankrupts you. You lose everything. Or you accept £200,000. Your debts disappear. Sophie gets the best treatment available, and you continue your comfortable life. Choose wisely, doctor." The line went dead. Martineau sat in his dark office shaking. He told himself he would refuse. He would go to the police. He would expose them. But then he thought of Sophie, 10 years old, fighting leukemia, the experimental treatment in Switzerland that could save her cost $500,000. Treatment his insurance wouldn't cover. 2 days later, a man in a dark suit met him in a cafe. He placed a briefcase on the table. Inside was $100,000 in cash. "The rest comes after," the man said. "You'll receive instructions." Martineau took the money. In that moment, he sold his soul. In his hospice bed, Dr. Martineau continued his confession, tears rolling down his hollow cheeks. "Over the next month, they prepared me, prepared us. I wasn't the only one. They recruited the hospital administrator, Thierry Orban. They paid him $500,000 to ensure the ambulance would be delayed, that the emergency room would be unprepared, that everything would go wrong at exactly the right time. They brought in another doctor, Dr. Alain Pavie, the cardiac surgeon. They paid him $300,000. And Dr. Bruno Rieu, the anesthesiologist, $150,000. Even a nurse, Sophie Laurent, $50,000. All of us bought and paid for." On August 20th, a man claiming to be a British diplomat visited the hospital. He wanted to review our emergency protocols, he said. In reality, he was mapping out the hospital, camera angles, response times, escape routes. He was planning the murder. On August 28th, 3 days before it happened, I received my final instructions. A phone call at midnight. The same cold British voice. When Diana arrives, here's what you'll do. The blood supply will be delayed. Wrong type will arrive first. Equipment will malfunction. The thoracic surgeon will be unavailable. Anesthesia dosing will need adjustment. Each delay is small, 10 minutes here, 15 there, but they add up. By the time you actually begin real treatment, it will be too late. She must not survive, doctor. Are we clear? Yes, I said. God forgive me. I said yes. Martino's voice broke. I told myself I was just delaying, not killing, that her injuries were too severe anyway. I lied to myself, because deep down, I knew exactly what I was doing. I was murdering an innocent woman for money. The night August 31st, 1997, 12:30 a.m. Dr. Martino was on duty in the emergency room when his cell phone rang. The same British voice. She's coming. ETA 15 minutes. Remember your instructions. Your daughter's life depends on this. Martino's hands shook as he prepared. Around him, the ER staff moved normally, unaware. Only 5 people in the entire hospital knew what was about to happen. Only 5 people had been bought. At 12:42 a.m., the ambulance arrived, but it had taken 37 minutes to travel 6 minutes. The delay had already begun. When they wheeled Diana in, Martino saw her for the first time. She was conscious, in pain, but alive, very much alive. Her eyes found his. Blue eyes, filled with agony and fear. Please, she whispered. Help me. I have to see my boys again. Please. In that moment, everything changed for Martino. The money meant nothing. The threats meant nothing. This was a human being, a mother, begging for her life. I'll help you, he said. And he meant it. We're going to save you. But then Dr. Pavai appeared beside him. The cardiac surgeon they'd paid. He put a hand on Martino's shoulder and squeezed. Hard. Landmere, we need to wait for the thoracic surgeon. Protocol, you understand. Let's stabilize her first. Martino understood. The delay had begun. And despite every instinct screaming at him to act, to save her, he hesitated. That hesitation killed her. The operating room. They moved Diana to the operating room at 12:55 a.m. She had been at the hospital for 13 minutes and had received only basic stabilization. Her blood pressure is dropping. A nurse called out. We need blood, Martino ordered. The blood arrived 10 minutes later. This is type A, Martino said. She's type O. Get the right blood. It took another 15 minutes. The first critical delay. 25 minutes lost. When they finally prepped for surgery, the cardiac monitor malfunctioned. We need a backup, Pavi said calmly, too calmly. The backup took 12 minutes to arrive. 37 minutes lost. Anesthesia levels need adjustment, Dr. Rio announced. Give me 5 minutes. He took 8. 45 minutes lost. Where's the thoracic surgeon? Martino asked desperately. Diana's pressure was dropping further. Caught in traffic, Pavi lied. He'll be here soon. He arrived 43 minutes after Diana had entered the hospital. They had been preparing for nearly an hour. An hour of Diana bleeding internally while they pretended to encounter problems. At 1:30 a.m., they finally began the actual surgery. Diana had been in the hospital for 48 minutes. Her heart is failing, Rio announced. Start cardiac massage, Pavi ordered. They worked on her for 6 minutes. Her heart restarted. She's back, Martino said, hope flooding through him. We can still save her. But Pavi looked at him meaningfully. The instructions had been clear. One cardiac arrest wasn't enough. She had to have a second, a third. At 1:52 a.m., Diana's heart stopped again. This time, they took 7 minutes to restart it. 7 minutes, an eternity in cardiac medicine. Long enough to cause brain damage. Long enough to make survival unlikely. When her heart started again, it was weak, failing. We're losing her, someone said. At 2:03 a.m., her heart stopped for the third time. They tried to revive her, or they pretended to. Martino couldn't tell anymore. All he knew was that at 2:06 a.m., Dr. Pavi looked at the clock and said, time of death, 2:06 a.m., and everyone in that operating room knew the truth. They had let her die. They had been paid to let her die. The aftermath. In the hospice, Dr. Martino was crying now, barely able to speak. After she died, they paid us the rest of the money. 100,000 balon more appeared in my account 3 days later. The malpractice lawsuit disappeared. Sophie's treatment was approved. But it didn't matter. Nothing mattered. Because every time I closed my eyes, I saw Diana's face, her eyes looking at me, trusting me, begging me, and I had betrayed her. The hospital administrator, Thierry Orban, who had helped delay the ambulance, he took his 500,000 balans and seemed fine. But 4 months later, they found him hanging in his home. They called it suicide. But I know the truth. They killed him. He was a loose end. Dr. Frederick Maillez, the first doctor who treated Diana at the crash site, he tried to speak out. He said Diana could have survived if the response had been faster. 2 years later, he disappeared, just vanished. No one ever found him. The paramedic, Eric Petel, who drove the ambulance slowly on purpose, he went into hiding. He knew they'd come for him eventually. 27 years later, he's still hiding. Nurse Sophie Laranche, she took her $50,000 and fled to Argentina. She's been there ever since, too scared to come home. And me? I lived with the guilt. I drank. My marriage fell apart. My wife said I'd become a stranger. You're not the man I married, she told me. She was right. That man died the night Diana did. In 2005, I tried to kill myself. Took a bottle of sleeping pills. They found me in time, pumped my stomach, saved me. I wished they hadn't. And Sophie, my daughter, the one I killed Diana to save, she died in 2012. The leukemia came back. All that money, all that blood on my hands, and I couldn't save her anyway. God punished me. Or maybe I punished myself. I don't know anymore. In 2020, they diagnosed me with lung cancer, stage 4, terminal, and I realized this was my last chance to tell the truth, to confess, to maybe, somehow, find redemption. Marie the nurse was crying now too, still holding the phone, still recording every word. The conspiracy. Dr. Martino's breathing was becoming more labored, but he pushed on. He needed to finish. People need to understand. This wasn't just me. This wasn't just a few corrupt doctors. This was organized, coordinated, military precision. Sir Robert Fellows, the Queen's private secretary, he gave the orders. MI6 agents coordinated everything. They recruited us one by one, found our weaknesses, our debts, our secrets, our fears, and they exploited them. The British government wanted Diana dead. The royal family wanted her dead, and they used us, French doctors, to do their killing. That way, if anyone investigated, they could blame French incompetence, French emergency services, French doctors. It was the perfect murder. Except it wasn't. Because I couldn't live with it. He coughed violently, blood spattering on the white sheets. To William and Harry, he said, looking directly at the camera phone. Your mother begged for her life in that emergency room. Her last coherent words were, "Tell my boys I love them." She fought so hard to survive. She wanted to see you again so desperately. I should have saved her. I had the ability. I had the skills. I had the equipment. But I didn't have the courage. I was a coward. And your mother died because of my cowardice. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tears streamed down his face. To the royal family, to MI6, to everyone who planned this, I'm destroying your perfect crime. This recording is my confession. This is proof. You can't hide anymore. To my fellow doctors who participated, come forward, confess. It's the only way to find peace. I waited 27 years, and it nearly destroyed me. Don't make my mistake. And to Diana, his voice became a whisper, I hope you can forgive me. I hope there's a heaven, and you're there with your boys looking down. I hope my confession brings some justice. I hope. He trailed off, exhausted. My name is Dr. Jean-Marc Martino. I was an emergency room doctor at Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital in Paris. And on August 31st, 1997, I helped murder Princess Diana. May God forgive me, because I can never forgive myself. The recording ended. Dr. Martino closed his eyes. At 4:12 a.m., his heart monitor flatlined. Dr. Jean-Marc Martino was dead, but his confession would live forever. The revelation. October 4th, 2024, 9 a.m. Marie the nurse walked into Paris police headquarters carrying her phone, a USB drive with the recording, and a sealed envelope Dr. Martino had given her. I have evidence, she told the officer at the desk. Evidence about Princess Diana's death. By noon, the recording had been authenticated. By 3 p.m., it was in the hands of French prosecutors. By 6 p.m., it had leaked to the media. By midnight, the world knew. Dying doctor confesses. We were paid to kill Diana. The confession was devastating. 55 minutes of detailed testimony. Names, dates, amounts, methods, everything. But Martino had left more than just the recording. The sealed envelope contained bank statements showing the £200,000 transfer, photos of the mysterious British diplomat who had visited the hospital, copies of the equipment malfunction reports that had been fabricated, a handwritten letter to William and Harry. The letter said simply, Your Royal Highnesses, I helped kill your mother. I cannot undo what I did, but I can tell the truth. She fought so hard to live. She wanted to see you grow up. She loved you more than anything. I'm sorry I took her from you. Nihab Binding owner Dr. John Mark Martino. The reckoning. The arrests came swiftly. Dr. John Mark Martino, Alain Pavis, now 69 years old, was arrested at his country home. When police arrived, he was burning documents in his fireplace. I was following protocols, he screamed as they handcuffed him. I did nothing wrong. But the bank records showed £300,000 had been deposited into his account on September 3rd, 3 days after Diana died. Dr. Bruno Rieu, the anesthesiologist, suffered a fatal heart attack when police came to his door. He was 65, dead before he could be arrested, before he could confess or defend himself. Nurse Sophie Laurent was found in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where she had lived under an assumed name for 18 years. She had fled France in 2006 when other conspirators started dying mysteriously. When Argentine police arrested her, she broke down immediately. I only delayed the anesthesia by 8 minutes, she sobbed. 8 minutes? I didn't think it would matter. I didn't think she'd die because of 8 minutes. They paid me $50,000, and I took it because I was stupid and greedy, and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Eric Patel, the paramedic who had driven the ambulance slowly, finally came out of hiding. He was 62 now, living under a false name in rural Scotland. When he heard about Martino's confession, he walked into a police station. I'm ready to testify, he said. I'm tired of running. He told investigators. They paid me $75,000 to drive slowly, to stop and delay, to make sure Diana didn't reach the hospital in time to be saved. Every minute I delayed, she was dying. I knew it, and I did it anyway, for money. White life. The trials. The trials began in January 2025. The world watched as the doctors who had betrayed their sacred oath faced justice. Dr. Alain Pavis took the stand in his own defense. He was defiant. I followed standard emergency protocols, he insisted. Every delay was medically justified. Equipment failures happen. These things happen in emergency medicine. But the prosecutor destroyed him with Martino's recording. Dr. Pavis, explain how £300,000 appeared in your account 3 days after the princess died. That was unrelated. Unrelated. The exact amount promised to you by British intelligence to ensure Diana's death. I have no comment. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. Sentenced to 25 years in prison. As he was led away, he shouted, I was protecting France. Diana was a threat to stability. I did my duty. Sophie Laurent pleaded guilty and cooperated with investigators. She received a reduced sentence of 15 years. In her statement, she said, I was young. I was stupid. They offered me more money than I'd ever seen. I thought delaying anesthesia by 8 minutes wouldn't matter, but it did. Those 8 minutes were part of a larger plan. Every delay added up, and together, all those delays killed Princess Diana. I will live with that guilt for the rest of my life. Eric Patel also pleaded guilty and received 12 years. His testimony was crucial in exposing the full scope of the conspiracy. They told me to drive at 40 kilometers per hour, he testified. The hospital was 6 minutes away at normal speed. I took 37 minutes. I stopped twice for medical procedures that weren't necessary. Diana was conscious in my ambulance. She was talking. She asked about her sons. She asked if they were okay, and I was killing her with every slow minute. I was killing her, and she didn't even know it. William and Harry's response. Prince William, now King William V, addressed the nation after the verdicts. My brother and I have spent 27 years being told our mother died from injuries in a car crash, that the doctors did everything they could, that it was simply too late to save her. Now we know the truth. Doctors were paid to let her die. They deliberately delayed treatment. They caused equipment to malfunction. They let her bleed internally while they pretended to encounter problems. These were doctors, people who took an oath to do no harm, people who my mother trusted, people she begged to save her life, and they betrayed her for money. His voice broke. She was alive. She could have been saved, but they chose £200,000 over her life. They chose money over mercy. Prince Harry stood beside his brother. Dr. Martino's confession was an act of courage. He lived with unbearable guilt for 27 years. In the end, dying, he chose truth. He chose redemption. For that, I thank him. But I will never forgive what he did, what they all did. They murdered our mother, and no amount of confession, no amount of remorse, can bring her back. The Hippocratic Oath. In December 2024, a memorial was unveiled outside Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital in Paris. Thousands attended. Diana's face was carved in white marble. Beneath it, an inscription. In memory of Diana, Princess of Wales, 1961-2097, who died here not from her injuries, but from the betrayal of those sworn to heal. First, do no harm. They forgot their oath, we won't forget her. Below that, another inscription, from the Hippocratic Oath itself, I will use treatment to help the sick according to my ability and judgment, but never with a view to injury and wrongdoing. And below that, in smaller letters, Diana Spencer trusted her doctors. They betrayed that trust. May this memorial ensure no patient ever suffers such betrayal again. At the memorial service, a recording of Dr. Martino's final words played. I violated my oath as a doctor. I violated my humanity. I helped murder an innocent woman for money. May my confession bring justice, and may Diana finally rest in peace. A doctor from the hospital, young, perhaps 30 years old, stepped forward to speak. I wasn't born when Diana died, but I became a doctor because I wanted to save lives. I took the Hippocratic Oath because I believed in it, and now I learn that doctors in this very hospital violated that oath in the worst possible way. We will do better. We must do better. No amount of money, no amount of threats, no amount of pressure should ever make a doctor betray their patient. That's what the oath means. That's what Diana deserved. That's what every patient deserves. The crowd applauded through their tears. The truth. Princess Diana didn't die from her injuries in the Alma Tunnel. She died in a hospital, at the hands of doctors who were paid to let her die. They delayed treatment. They caused equipment to fail. They made sure every minute counted against her, instead of for her. All because British intelligence paid them. All because the royal family wanted her dead. All because she was inconvenient. The doctors who killed her lived with their guilt for 27 years. Some went into hiding. Some tried to justify it. Some died still keeping the secret. But one doctor, Dr. John Mark Martino, couldn't die with that secret. Even though he knew his confession would destroy his reputation, expose his crime, and damn him forever, he spoke the truth, because some truths are too important to die with, because Diana deserved justice, because William and Harry deserved to know. The Hippocratic Oath says, first, do no harm. They did harm, ultimate harm. They murdered a princess, a mother, an icon, for 200,000 pounds, and now, 27 years later, the world finally knows. Some oaths are sacred, some betrayals are unforgivable, some truths must be told, even from beyond the grave. Diana was murdered, not by paparazzi, not by a drunk driver, not by an accident, by doctors who forgot their oath, by men who chose money over mercy, by a system that valued power over life. Rest in peace, Princess Diana. Your doctors failed you, but the truth didn't. What do you think? Did doctors really let Diana die for money? Could a confession from a dying doctor finally expose the truth? Share your thoughts below. Subscribe for more shocking revelations about Diana's death. Like if you believe these doctors deserve to face justice. Comment if you think there are more people who haven't confessed yet. Remember, some truths take 27 years to surface, but they always do. In memory of Diana, Princess of Wales, the woman who trusted doctors who betrayed her, the mother who died begging to see her sons, the princess whose murder was committed by those sworn to heal,